Stairs. Let's go that way. Then why can't I? Yep, that works. That's a perfect spot for a torch.
I think Periscope is going to be the real interesting one. In terms of whether surround sound works at all. Or whether it sounds dodgy.
Ah, okay.
Because I has no idea.
Can I make smooth
Actually,
stone
it probably
stairs?
didn't change the game on YouTube either.
I can make stone brick stairs, but I can't make smooth stone stairs. That's a shame. Because I want to match all the stone around it, but I don't want to use cobblestone for the walls.
This is a valid concern, yes.
I'm glad that you find it a valid concern and it's just not me being insane. I like my stuff to match.
Well, so I used Restream to select a game, right? It incorrectly chose StarCraft 2 on Twitch, and correctly chose Minecraft on Mixer. And did not change YouTube. That's fine.
Oh, that's the roof. Oh. Well, that's gonna have
Probably
to
a
stay
roof.
dirt then. I heard a dink. That would probably be you going live.
Probably. It probably told you I was playing StarCraft 2, which is wrong.
Probably. Okay, so I can't do that. I'm gonna have to make them.
Interesting. Oh, I didn't give the bot the right permissions. That's why.
Ah.
This
Damn
explains some things. Okay.
Wrong block. Give me that block. Thank
Hello! Let's put.
Why do I have a stair jutting out there?
Here.
Stop that.
Do I have the Discord overlay anywhere? I don't think I do. Let me quickly check. Unused.
What
no, I don't.
did I do here?
No Discord overlay.
Rip. I am not sure what I did here, but I stuffed up royally.
Yeah?
Apparently.
Why would you do this?
I don't. I would like to know that myself, to be honest, but apparently I just don't know how to make a staircase without stuffing it up. But that's okay, I fixed it.
That's good. I don't remember what my storage system was like here, so things are going to be wonky.
What's a storage system?
Well, so I had an ME system, and some random chests with some crap in them.
Yeah, that pretty much sums up most of my stuff. I like to try and keep my stuff organized, but a lot of the time I just.
What is organization?
Yeah, well, what I'm planning to do for this house is have a single chest in my doorway or closest to wherever I'm going to be going into, and pretty much I'm going to dump everything into that chest, and it's going to get pumped out by pipes, go into a diamond pipe, do the whole sorting thing, and I'm pretty much just going to make this elaborate scheme of pipes that's going to sort all of my materials into various chests where I want them.
I see.
Whether this works or not is a completely different story, but I'll worry about that at another time. I have a plan, and that's what matters. You still have 7,000 thing. I should probably pulverize some tin.
I'm expecting weird frame drops, so it's fine.
Give me a moment to...
Not what I wanted.
Twitch.
Probably be lighting these areas up too. I don't trust the zombies.
Must mute Twitch. Put that on theater mode. There we go.
It's a lot of coal.
Oh, you get a fancy thing. Holy crap. Does that... I don't know about that tool. Does that tool just mine the entire... like, every conjoining block of the same type?
So it's a very fun tool. I feel like this was a tunnel somewhere, but that's not.
Oh, you also have a jetpack.
Yes, this. Yeah. All right. Let me
fancy stuff.
Yeah. I'm not starting from scratch here. Let me step outside. I don't have a bed. That's fine. So basically, this atomic disassembler has multiple modes. It has normal mode, it has slow mode, fast mode, vein mode, and an off mode. I don't know what off does.
Probably turns it off so it doesn't do anything, I suppose?
Maybe. But either way, I was using it in vein mode so that I could quickly collect coal. The way it works is I just recharge it using... do I have a thing nearby where I can recharge it? I don't remember. Oh yeah, I can stand on this charge pad, and it'll charge anything that I'm carrying, like my boots and the atomic disassembler. The jetpack I'm wearing requires this electrolytic separator. And basically, I put it in here, I think.
You think you gotta remember how to play it?
Yeah. I put it in this one.
No.
Oh, that took forever. And that's not visible. Why isn't that visible?
The game doesn't want you to have your stuff, apparently.
Let me refresh this. And let me try triggering that follow again, just to make sure that follows work. Actually, I should be able... I don't have to use this anymore. I made a thing better. Let's resend that. There we go, right. Now it works.
I'm gonna have to replace all of those stairs because they're cobblestone and everything around it is smooth stone. That's irritating me.
Fair enough.
Why? Is it daytime? Ah, it is daytime. Okay. So unfortunately, I don't have enough energy to actually be gaining energy while my macerators work at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of
I don't remember if these portals work.
Alright, I need to keep mining this until my pick breaks.
What's on the bend frequency?
Have a doorway there. Yes, I am. So I'm going to put a torch there. Maybe I should embed that torch into the wall. Nah, it's
Hi, AJTex. Yes, let me know how stuff sounds. What I might have to do... I think that's osmium, right? I want to say what I'm looking at is osmium. Yes, it is. Okay, excellent. I don't have an easy way of testing sounds. At the very least, let me know if you can hear me properly. That would probably be the most important aspect.
Hearing people in a stream, that's not important. What are you talking about, man?
That's a good sign.
I should have made that 3 wide. Oh, too late now.
I don't have any steel storage. I should probably get some steel storage. Hearing me is a good first step. That's good. I'm specifically playing in 5.1 surround, so you should at the very least hear it on the rear surround and on the center channel. Based on what I'm looking at.
Smooth stone cooking, that's cool. I'm gonna have a bunch of cobblestone stairs that I have no use for.
Well, Tim, it's also good that you can hear stuff correctly on a 2.0 setup, because most people will be watching on a 2.0 setup.
Or a fake surround sound setup. Really? Goddamn pics. Mine one block and it breaks. Where is my iron? I have no iron. Wonderful. How do I not have iron?
No iron sounds like a problem.
Well, I have iron, I have a lot of dust, I have no ingots. And I have stuff cooked at the moment.
That's no good. Yeah, iron.
I should make another furnace, but I'm too lazy to make another furnace. Plus, I don't want to make a standard furnace, because that's pleb stuff.
Do I have a coal chest? Yes, I do.
I can't even remember what I was initially doing. I know I jumped on to do something, and now I've started doing 3 different things.
Just the general goal of being productive is a good goal?
I mean, yeah, being productive is great until, as I said, you end up doing... I was making circuits. I remember.
I also jumped on to make stuff. Well, organize stuff. Because I haven't played on this server in maybe a year, maybe a year and a half.
Yeah, no, I remember now. I was making circuits because I'm making another solar panel. Because I don't like using anything that requires fuel, because that means I have to keep on top of fuel, and that's just late. I'm too lazy.
Yep, AJ Tex, I am trying to balance that out a bit. I did notice that myself. Thanks for confirming it.
I mean, I can yell. That'll probably make it a little bit louder.
Well, no, you were almost peaking before, so I don't know how that happened. I fixed it. It's fine.
Okay. Okay.
Digging backpack? What do we have in here? Yeah, let's grab one hardened stone and just pop it there.
Also, I just opened the Overwatch channel on Discord. How do you have 700 tokens?
Well, I got... How many tokens did I get for free?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you were in there and you got all that free stuff. I think I need to turn myself down. Or...
That's a possibility.
Yeah, I'm thinking so.
I turned the entire desktop audio down on my end.
Yeah, because I think I turned myself up a while back because my brother was complaining about me being too quiet. I think we were playing iRacing and the in-game sounds are really loud, but you kind of need them.
Fair enough. Ooh, ask me more.
Yeah, because like...
I will accept this.
I was speaking a tad loudly, but I wasn't yelling and I could still hear myself, so... I had another circuit. What did I do with it? I only have 4 chests. How does the circuit go missing? Or did I not make it? Oh, I don't really know. Oh, that's right.
No worries. Thanks, AJ Tex. Thanks for stopping by. It's alright, Tim. I'll just yell your name a few times, Tim. Maybe you'll notice that I'm calling you out, Tim. Because, Tim, I might need you for something at some stage. You got that, Tim?
I have 2 circuits. Pulverize coal. Well, let's pulverize half a stack of coal, because why not?
I feel like I have bits of alabaster everywhere. All of these things look the same. Marble and alabaster and... It's very echoey in here.
Oh, I have eggs. I'm gonna throw some eggs and stuff.
Hmm.
Maybe I'll get a chicken. Actually, I'm gonna put it in my house. Maybe I'll get a chicken. Or a duck. Yeah, I got a duck! Even though it's a chicken, but it looks like a duck. You would never leave. Unless you stand on my pressure plate.
Locktill, welcome to the stream. I am playing on PC. However, you can now play Minecraft on Xbox Game Pass.
Where did the duck go?
If you're into that sort of thing.
No, bad duck, don't stand in the fire.
I don't think I have any pets in this game at the moment. I don't remember having any. Oh,
Yeah,
did
no.
chat do that thing again? Stupid chat. That should make it appear.
Don't yell at the chat. What did the chat do to you?
The chat didn't show up on stream. That's what it did.
Oh, well, I mean, okay, I guess it's fair enough to yell at chat.
Oh, I remember this thing. I don't remember how to use it.
I was adjusting the wrong bar for my volume.
Oh yeah.
Turns
That'd do it.
out adjusting the voice the voice activation sensitivity does not reduce volume.
Really?
Funny. Yeah, funny how that works.
Never would have guessed. I was carrying steel, wasn't I?
I mean, I have no idea if I'm too quiet now, but I'm sure you would let me know otherwise.
You're very, very slightly quieter than before. Not enough for most people to notice, to be honest.
Wow. Okay, apparently a 75% reduction. Whatever. Oh, it was 30% apparently.
You are
I mean,
peaking
that's the-
very slightly, but only occasionally.
That's alright. It's not really... Unfortunately, it's not really much I'm going to be able to do with my current setup.
No worries. Most people, like 99% of people, wouldn't notice anyway.
It's just that you're very onto this stuff.
I have an acute sense of noticing when people have their audio all screwed up.
Yeah. That's why I try and do a bit better, but...
You're doing well.
There's only so much I can do. What do you want? Why are you staring at me? I had a chicken staring at me for some reason. Made me uncomfortable.
A chicken? Yeah, they do that.
Yes. Why was I making iron again?
What do you mean too wide, Tim? I do know that underground, for some reason, it does provide more echo in this mod pack. That is something that I noticed.
Where's my pulverized coal? Ah, that's right.
Yeah, so if I were to grab a... Do I have a chest that's not in there? Yes. Let me grab a chest and... Pick it up, yeah? Yeah?
I just went to go bloody check my macerator for my pulverized coal, and it was gone. I'm like, wait, where's my coal? And then I remembered that I set up a pipe system for it to just go directly into my bloody chest. I totally forgot about it. That's what I was gonna make gold for. I was gonna make some gold pipes. Remembering all sorts of things at the moment.
Does that sound better, Tim?
1, 2, 3. Now it's glass on.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yay, I have another solar panel.
It's literally because it's a stone cavern, so it adds more echo.
Oh. Cable. Solar panel. Yay, now I have 4 solar panels.
Oh, the chest probably went into building materials, damn it. Yeah, it did. Moss stone is apparently a building material. Good to know.
I mean, you can build stuff with it, I suppose. I don't know, don't listen to me. No, you can stay in here too. Your stuff that I use regularly. This chicken keeps staring at me and it's kind of worrying. Where are my sticks? There are my sticks.
Well, I do have some cobalt ore, yeah.
I should have saved some of that to build a couple of them, never mind.
Dirt goes in here. Granite goes in the other stone, or does it go in the stone? In the stone.
What the hell can I use the electrode for? Low power line, inductive furnace, generator, solar panel. Ah, okay, you can just use that for a bunch of random crap. That's nice to know. Alright, well, you're cooking that.
Let's transform this iron ore as soon as possible. I keep forgetting it's supposed to be this one. I thought the hotkey for that was on. Oh. I don't know what the hotkey for that is. Oh, I should get rid of these.
Well,
Very rainy in this
better than
server.
what it was. I've actually noticed that with my world as well. It is raining a lot.
Actually, no, that's supposed to be in the crushing factory, isn't it? Nope. Guess not. Welcome, Pew Pew, my bro. Interesting choice for a name. How you doing?
Hey. You writing someone on the name?
No, just hard to read when it's in tiny text.
Alright, fair enough. I can't really argue with that at all. Says can go away there, you can go away there too. Why do I have flint? So, question, my room underneath my house, which is going to be placement of all my machines, what material should I make it out of?
That is entirely up to you. I made my walls out of chiseled oak wood. And chiseled oak wood, apparently. No, that can't be right. That's not wood, and neither is that.
The bottom there either looks like stone or iron, probably stone. The top either looks like marble?
Yeah, it's probably marble. I can find out if... wait, where'd it go? I broke my wall and it vanished. Help!
Oh no.
I need a professional.
You came to the wrong place for that.
Yeah, I probably picked it up into one of my many backpacks. It'll be fine, maybe. Not gonna be in here, is it? No. Uh-oh. Oh no, hang on, I found it. It's here. Chiseled wood, oak wood. Apparently it's oak wood.
Why did that not replace my shovel immediately? Okay. Never actually considered really making
Oh,
that.
you know why? Because the outer half of the chiseled block is oak wood. That's why.
Ah, okay.
That's why I did that.
Makes sense.
What was I doing with the galena ore? Stacking it up, apparently. Hardened stone. Would you go in here? Yeah, okay. Where was I putting my clay? Does my clay go in... here? Yeah, okay. Iron ingot.
That's smack bang in the middle, so that's where my torch can go for now.
And we're gonna put you in here.
Maybe I'll make it out of something, well, what I want to consider expensive at the moment, because it's material I can use for better things like iron. I don't think I actually have enough iron to make a whole house out of it, though.
Worth a shot! It'll be fine, I promise.
Yeah, I've only got to cover a... what's that, like a 5x10x3 area. It's fine.
Yeah. It'll be fine.
I also realised that I can't make a 3-high door, but the passageway into here is 3 high.
Yeah, Tim, I have 1,000 iron. I've got 1,680 diamonds. I have 15,000 cobblestone. Welcome, Razor Spark. How you doing? Hope your day's going well. By the way, Sonic, every time you tap your mic, it comes out pretty loud on my end.
Ooh, sorry.
Just letting you know.
I have a sniffly nose, so I knock it up to mute my mic.
Hmm.
So
Well, whatever sensitivity you adjusted so that your brother could hear you.
actually, it should be less sensitive than what it was, but apparently there's still not enough. It's alright, I'll just mute Discord.
I'm good, Razor Spark. I'm just glad it's Friday night, you know? Time for the weekend. Hi, Elf Lover. Long time no see. How you doing? I ran out of my drink. Let's grab water. You see, even when I'm not prepared, I come prepared. I get a runny nose in the morning, personally, Sonic.
Thank you. Okay, I thought I unmuted, but I didn't. Yeah, no, mine's partially like it feels like it's runny, but it's not actually runny. It's just that I've always got stuff in my nose, mainly because my respiratory system is absolutely ruined because I smoke.
Ah.
So I'm like constantly sniffing because it always feels like there's something in my nose.
I'm good, elf lover.
So, if I stop smoking, I can get around that.
How's that going?
It's not.
Oh?
I was on Champix for about a month and a half, but it turns out that stuff really messes with my head.
Interesting.
So yeah, it pretty much mentally it started putting me into a really bad spot. And
Ah.
that's like because initially I was planning on going to PAX when I wasn't smoking, but
Yeah.
I think it was about a month or two before PAX or something like that. Bloody yeah, these champagnes just ended up messing with me really hard. Like I wasn't sleeping and bloody my head was just all in the wrong spot. And then one day I was perfectly fine, had a great day at work, which is rare. But that wasn't really an issue. I was used to it. But had a great day at work. I was having a shower before bed. And I just completely broke down in the shower for no apparent reason. So
That sucks.
after a few more days of stuff like that happening, I just went, nah, I'm not dealing with this anymore. Like,
Fair enough.
smoking's a problem, obviously, because of my health and everything, but I can still get through a day of work and just a day through that. But the champions started getting to the point where I didn't feel like I could actually get through a day properly.
Yeah.
So I decided that it was doing me more
More harm than good?
Time.
Yeah.
Yeah, at that time. Which is a shame because when I was off them, I felt great. Like I could breathe properly, which was amazing.
Yeah. Well, I have no idea what I want to do. My house is there. Maybe I'll go out this way?
What different types of stone can I make?
Razor Spark, I'm personally a fan of HermitPack, and this is an old one. I think it's... Let me quickly check.
Ooh,
This is HermitPack 170, running on Minecraft 110. I've been running it as a secondary server for a couple of years. I just don't play on it often. But the reason I chose HermitPack over something like Feed the Beast is because it has certain mods that I personally enjoy. So I'm a big fan of Mechanism, and I'm a big fan of Britannia. Mechanism being a technology mod, and Britannia being a magic mod. I'm not a fan of Thormcraft. I feel like that doesn't make magic fun. It just makes it a chore. And in terms... Yeah. And in terms of... actually, I wonder... Okay, this does have blood... no. It does not have blood magic, I don't think. Oh. Hi, zombie. How are you doing?
Like a hopper minecart. Cool. Didn't know that.
Yeah. Those have existed for a few versions. They're very handy. If you have a reason to use them.
So from my knowledge, I can put stuff into... What am I looking for?
Stuff and things.
Yeah, I was looking for my smooth stone, but I don't have any, so... From my knowledge... How many is this hole? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. From my knowledge, I put stuff into a hopper.
I feel like either someone blew something up here, or this is one of those, applied energistics balls. Apparently undiscovered? Yeah. Or maybe discovered and it just... Yep, someone's been here. Progress 5%. Oh, weird. Okay, now what if I set this to fast? Let's see if there's anything else in here that I can yoink. Oh yeah, that's another mod I really enjoy, Applied Energistics. Applied Energistics 2 made it significantly more reliant on crystals, which I didn't like. I haven't looked at the mod recently, but it provides you a way to store all your items in computer hard drives, which is fun. Free Skystone doesn't hurt either.
Why do some things have to be so complicated?
Because people get really bored in Minecraft, apparently.
It's not just that, buddy. I'm trying to make a thing go into another thing, but apparently...
Very specific.
Yeah, because some things, they like to be irritating and they'll only go in if it's at a certain... If it's going into a certain angle of the block, like it's got to go in from the left or the right, it doesn't always go in from one direction. And apparently I can't make a hopper go directly into an iron furnace.
Can't make a hopper go into an iron furnace. As far as I know, the regular furnace, when it comes to a hopper, you have to be very specific about which side you place things into. So if you attach a hopper to the left side of a furnace, it will put it into the left side slot of the furnace.
Yes, I worked it out.
Yeah.
Because I was just placing it at the block above it, using the wall as an area to place it onto. And
you were attaching it to the wall.
And I thought that since it was on top, it would automatically orientate itself and connect to
Nope.
the furnace, but it didn't. Turns out I actually had to select the furnace, then I had to remember, how do you place something on top of something when you can access that item? You know what I mean?
Yep. Hi JD Homer. Welcome to Mixer, I guess. Hope your day's going well.
Oh, that furnace is out of coal. Do I have much more coal? I think pretty sure I grinded half of it down.
Vein mining does not work on Skystone, unfortunately. This is something I have learned today. I also don't like how it's just almost solid black. Because it looks like I'm just underground in the dark, which is wrong.
I think I'm going to move said hopper and said furnace when it's done that 10. Because I need more furnaces. More, I tell you, more.
More furnaces doesn't hurt. The benefit of Mechanism is that you can basically upgrade the furnaces that are provided as part of the mod. And you can essentially turn them into one furnace that smelts 4 things at once.
Oh, okay. I know that you can upgrade furnaces in this, and you can get, I believe it's the induction furnace, which can do 2 things at once, but as far as I know, that's about as good as I can go. Usually it's not an issue, and I don't need to do that many at a time.
Yeah.
How?
It's when you start, automating your mining escapades where it starts to become an issue.
Yeah, that is true. That's how you do it. Okay, worked it out. I am an intelligent person sometimes. Let me grab 2 more furnaces. Take that out, take that out.
Can't we all?
Mine this furnace. Go downstairs. Because that is going to be my machine room, so I'm going to make it my machine room now. I can't put anything on the side wall because I messed up the dimensions.
Hi sheep, I see you have a chest next. Oh no, that's not a chest. That's rubber wood. Do I have... What? Okay. I don't remember how to grab rubber out of a... I need a tap, don't I?
Yeah, tree tap.
I am not carrying a tree tap. Let's go back to the house.
Or you could do the lazy thing that I would do and mine a tree, get some wood, quickly make a thing. What's the thing?
Dunno.
A crafting table. Make some planks and do it right there.
I should probably look up the recipe for a tree tap, shouldn't I?
Bottom right, 3 through the middle, top center. Bottom left, 3 through the middle, top center, sorry.
5 planks. I see, that's actually really easy.
I was correct. I've only made like 600, not really. A lot. But it's only because I've made them recently that I actually know that.
Yeah.
Everything is in the wrong spot. I need that.
Alright guys, do you think I collected enough wood for that? Would that be enough for a tree tap?
Just because you can destroy an entire tree immediately.
Probably my foresting backpack? No, that one has coffee beans.
What? Why do you have coffee beans? I mean, coffee beans are cool, so I'm not going to argue, but...
I don't actually know when and where I got them.
This is going to look ugly for the time.
Thanks for confirming that, Tim. Which side was it on?
That looks really ugly at the moment, but I kind of need to do it, so that's okay. Also need more stone. Yep. Oh, I should also make... Why does this door not have a pressure plate?
Good question. I do not know the answer to this question.
How dare I make a door without a pressure plate? That's just lazy.
Right?
Stuff it.
Oh, I only needed the one. Oh well.
Got the door there for aesthetic purposes.
Oh, actually no, you know what? They have durability. Let's just stick them all in my bag of holding. This one.
One there, put one there.
I can stick these into my...
Oh, I'm probably also going to need those to pump into a chest. Not that I can actually do that because I put them right next to each other, which means I can't actually access that side. You know, stuff it. I don't care. They're cooking. That's all that matters. I'm going to do one thing at a time.
That rubber tree did not drop any saplings. I am disappointed.
What a rude tree.
Right?
That's where I was going to make some gold pipes, so...
My boots are losing durability too fast. I don't like this.
That sounds like a problem that must be fixed. Gold, split that, 1, 2, 3. No, wrong direction. An idiot.
Stupid skeletons shooting way too fast. You should not have a bow. This is not fair.
That's right, it's just sitting there doing absolutely nothing. Maybe I should put a hopper on top of it.
My frame rate's bad enough that I can't fight very well. Ow.
Oh, that's right, yours is on a server, so bloody...
It's on an Aussie server, so the ping is fine. It's more the frickin' frame rate that I'm getting in the mod pack.
What I was more saying is, most, like 90% of the time I play this game, I play it on peaceful. Because
yeah.
I'm lazy. Shoot, how do I make a hopper again? I totally forgot. Oh, it's with iron. Why did I think it was with stone?
Because the furnace is with stone.
True. That or I have no idea if I can crush that. I can crush it in a grinder. I cannot crush it in there.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, a jungle.
Forestium? I don't know what the hell. Modular force field system. Apparently that's the mod that it's part of, so... Okay.
You are cave. Are you safe cave? You are dull cave.
Alright. Dump all them into the hopper. Awesome, now the macerator will just do its thing for a while. And that's exactly the kind of thing I'm looking for.
You know, I should probably be killing all of these animals I run into. They would be good for food.
Oh yeah, you also need food.
Well, I have like 45 melons and 12 bread, but... I don't even remember where I got the melons.
You're always going to need more food.
This is true.
Now, you're probably going to get really upset. Aha!
Me? Upset?
No, sorry, I was talking to my macerator and my pipes.
I see.
Zoom.
That doesn't
that's
sound
nice.
confusing at all.
That slows down really quickly. About there, I believe it's slowed down, so I need another gold pipe there. That was only like 3 spaces. 1, 2... Yeah, about 3 spaces. That's really unfortunate. Maybe I should just make the whole damn thing out of gold. I have enough.
These black lotus flowers look too similar to, the dead flowers from Botania. So I have to check each one to be like, are you the one I'm looking for?
I'm gonna turn this into a bumblebee pipe.
Oh, my boots do not have a lot of, energy. What do I have in my ender sack? Nothing. Understood.
Alright. I love automating systems. Just, it's so fun.
Can confirm. I don't have a bow. I should get a bow.
I should make
Ow.
another chest to take down.
I got shot in the butt! How rude. Hi, Creeper. How you doing? Yep, still a black lotus.
Power crystal?
That creeper exploded fast.
Okay, what can I use a power crystal for? Apparently absolutely nothing. I can make a power crystal and that's about it. Or I can make a guide. And you hate when you find materials that just aren't really used for anything, but they're there.
Yeah. I wasn't poked by arrows. You saw nothing. I had them in here, didn't I?
Why are you not dropping into there?
Well, this rubber tree was useless. Let's just... Oh, it doesn't take down the whole rubber tree. Okay, back home we go. This way. And now we wait. So chat, how are you doing? Wait, which way was my house? Over here. Okay. Oh, hi Ben. How are you doing? Ben, guess which server I'm playing on? Actually, you can... I can do this. Whose house is this? this button. Where am I? Oh, I'm right there. Mm. 3 firewalls. All on the same machine? At least I'm not completely bleeding hydrogen. That would be bad. My boots, though, are not looking particularly great. Not looking great. Let me know how the surround sound sounds on YouTube. Because so far, from what I've heard, it sounds perfectly fine on Twitch. Yeah, basically, Ben. If you need more than one firewall on the same machine, something's gonna die. I haven't heard any bad feedback about the audio on Mixer. And you're the first viewer today on YouTube, so... Any feedback would be appreciated. I realize not a lot of sounds are going on right now that would help you ascertain which direction sounds are coming from. But that's fine. That's a tree. Still a tree. My base is quite boring, does not contain a farm. And therefore I am not good on resources. Right. So. I need to recharge my boots. And my disassembler. Actually, technically, I could lower the video bitrate right now if I wanted to. But I don't want to. Okay, feet are charged. Disassembler is charged. I will need to fill up my armored jetpack a bit. Jetpack was... I feel like I'm looking at the wrong thing. Nope, that's the right one. Oh, I'm out of... How does this work again? It's been a while.
How do I...
No.
Keep accidentally turning caps lock on.
What was the correct way to... Oh, right, I need to dump the oxygen. That's right. Yep, thank you, Ben. Got it. It's been too long. I should get some armor. Magic hood, plus 2 armor. I might wear that for a bit. Witch hat. Iron leggings, maybe. I mean, I could just put on some, like, diamond gear. What's better than diamond gear in this? Ben, I need your expertise. Sonic, just a reminder, you're muted currently.
Yeah, I didn't really notice. I wasn't really saying much either. Glass?
Thought I'd mention it.
Cool. I have a redstone engine. Yay, because I'm too much of a pleb to have anything more decent.
Hmm. I have a lot of copper ore that I'm not using.
Do I have any smooth stone? Of course I have smooth stone. My whole process at the moment is making smooth stone. God damn.
We do not have draconic. Ben.
I need to make some smooth stone pipes. I don't have a crafting table down here. I should fix that. Where can my crafting table go? In the wall right there. For now. Boop. I need to make smooth.
Oh, hi Root. Do you recognize this mod pack?
Oh no,
Hang on, where is it? That one's
So-
Ben's. Roots was over this way, wasn't it? Do you recognize this label? Do you recognize... it was out this way, wasn't it? Oh yeah, you had the village, didn't you? Yeah, this one up here. Do you recognize this base? It doesn't reset to my position, that's dumb. Yeah, I might start, like... building a farm out this way.
Oh shoot.
Oh, can do.
I guess that one?
Oh, interesting.
3 iron ingots.
That...
I'm guessing I need cobblestone for that. Oh wait, I've got to make a wooden gear first. Then go surround it in stone, make stone gear, surround it in iron. I need one more iron. I'm an idiot. Wait. No mind. I think it was this wrench. No, it wasn't that wrench. Crap.
So, those logs drop my FPS to about 20 when they're dropping, even though my GPU usage is sitting at 30%.
Rip.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. So I have the Xbox game bar enabled, and it's not visible in display cap. Literally right here. Weird. Whoop, that's not what I meant to hit. My buttons are too close. Ben, here's another question for you. You remember what the hell this thing was for? I remember using it for something to make something, but I don't remember what it was or why. No worries, Root. You're probably too tired after work to continue setting up stuff, huh? You and your crazy time zones. Sonic's muted himself again.
Oh, I've been doing a lot of talking to myself, so I don't really want to bother you too much.
No, go for it. Keeps the conversation flowing, you know?
Yeah.
What looks like a nuke? Oh, yeah. You're not wrong, Ben. You're not wrong. Just don't remember what it was for.
How do I do this? Yeah. Guess I could just air it up more. Dealing with pipes is not my forte. not good at this. Let's go stone transport. That's, stuff it. Just go with the way I was initially going to do it.
Well, see, Root, maybe you should just move to Australia. That way you don't have to be sleeping on Australian time in the US, which doesn't make sense to anyone.
Yeah,
you know what I need? I need a gas tank.
Then he'll just get a night shift job over here. Then he'll be sleeping on bloody US time instead of our time. Because I'm guessing that's the whole thing. He's working night shift.
Yep.
Alright, so that'll take that.
Do I have a gas tank?
No.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to dig out the whole backside. I'm gonna totally need a saw after this.
Hmm?
Because I'm gonna have to make faceplates so I can cover up all these pipes. Otherwise it just looks messy and I don't like it.
I will need redstone.
Nope. Thank you. So, wooden pipe, wooden pipe, wooden pipe. Oh, wooden pipes do not connect to each other. Good to know. And I believe since those are stone, I'm gonna have to make these ones
Okay, Root. Thanks for the vague answer. It at least helps me a bit.
I want that. Whatever. That is gravel. Why is there gravel down here? Go away.
Okay, I'm gonna need to make reinforced alloy. I think I had some reinforced alloy upstairs. Sorry, downstairs. So let me quickly grab that.
Will that go in? That should go.
Oh god! I have regrets. I took off my jetpack and then jumped.
Yeah, you probably don't want to do that.
No, I don't. Are you sure, Root? I don't think it is.
No, I ran out of
I guess
pipes.
it's probably compatible with it, but I don't think it's designed for that. I am looking for a particular thing that I will recognize when I see it again. Because remember, Root, I have this chest. Okay, that actually looks pretty smooth. I'll keep that in mind. I could have sworn. No. It would be... I think we had a whitelist on it, didn't we? Let me quickly check that before you, go sprouting IP addresses in places. Okay, we did not have a whitelist. No, it was WMA with the other port number, Ben. If you need me to PM it to you, let me know. No worries, Tim. Thanks for hanging out. Enjoy the rest of your night. While I stare at these chests, wondering what I did wrong. The disc... Yeah. There's a Discord chat for it, isn't there? This one...
Oh, sorry.
It's... Ben, it's in the description of the Discord chat. For the server. I could have sworn I had a thingy. Where did I see it?
Pretty much the story of Minecraft.
Haha, found him. What do I need for an ultimate gas tank? Oh, the atomic alloy. I need... I'm not going to bother with that. I'm going to put the gas tank in here. I will likely need more water.
Okay, so it can't output via the solid way.
No, it's not. It's 11:35.
Aha!
11:36.
I have victory.
Do?
I say I have victory, and I'm playing with pipes. The pipes are beating me at the moment. Okay, leave me alone. The pipes are being rude. Nah, I had to make sure I put iron pipes down, otherwise, buddy, all the stuff coming out of the furnaces would try and, buddy, go into the pipes next to them and everything. I really didn't want to have to deal with that. I just wanted it all nice and smoothly go in one direction.
I see, I see.
Because I am picky like that. Well, at the moment, once I cover up all these faces, that should look relatively neat. This is going under the impression this actually works. I don't know if this is going to work yet. I've only set it up and I actually haven't got the engines moving yet. So... we shall find out. I need a hell of a load of redstone engines. I can't open my chest. I'm an idiot. You can't open a chest while there are blocks on top of it. Funny that.
This is true.
Alright, what do I need to do? I need to make places for engines. Let me make the engines first. And I'm also going to need all of these. Sometimes I wish that when you place something into a crafting table and then left the menu because you forgot something, it would leave the stuff placed in the crafting table.
Wouldn't that be nice? You need to make a tinker's table.
Oh, does that allow you to do that?
Yeah.
Ooh.
What's it called? I don't think I have tinkers installed on this. Hey, Ben joined the game.
I don't believe I have it either.
It's called Tinker's Construct. The mod itself.
No, I don't actually believe I have it.
Really? That's weird.
RIP. Am I able to search via mod name? Oops, maybe I should actually... Tinker. Nope, I have thematic Tinker, but I don't have Tinker's Construct apparently. That's a RIP.
Yeah, it is.
Oh well.
What?
Alright, so I need to make 3 pistons. How do I make pistons again? 1, 2, 3.
You'll need iron, redstone, and
Planks.
cobble?
Yes, cobblestone and planks.
Yeah. That.
If I'm making this correctly, yes I am. Awesome. 3 pistons?
Ben, you're welcome to join us on Discord if you like. We're in the general channel. We could probably actually move to the gaming channel or the streaming channel. That would probably make a lot of sense, but we'll stick to this one for now.
Since when have we ever done stuff properly? Although that's usually just me, so maybe you should ignore that. No, stop doing that, stick. Alright. I have all the gears I need. I have all the pistons I need. I have the glass I need. And I now have 3 more engines. Yay, I suppose.
Ben says he'll join in on Discord in a bit.
Far enough.
I need to upgrade my fluid tanks.
That's one thing I need to get into doing. because every time I've played this so far, I've usually run geothermal generators.
Oh, I have an advanced fluid tank. I'm just not using it. Well,
Yeah, usually I build like massive tanks. I can't remember what mod it is, but you can pretty much build your own iron tank. You just got to make sure the dimensions are reasonable and use the right materials and everything. I usually build those, and then I can't remember how we did it exactly, but we had a pump in the Nether, so we pretty much would never run out of lava, and we were able to pump it through a teleporter.
see, I remember doing that and draining the nether of lava.
We got very close to doing that because we ended up having two pumps from two separate areas, and then we had like 6 tanks or something. We just filled them with lava and then used like the geothermal generators or whatever. Because to us it was a very easy way to do it.
Yeah.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Oh, I didn't get a beep for Ben because I'm in streamer mode. Ben, your mic's very quiet.
Indeed, he is.
Ah, well.
That's a bit better.
I'm gonna have to make that one a lever, otherwise that's gonna be way too irritating. Time to do some redstoning, though I have zero idea how to redstone stuff.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, totally. I'll break it and make a very, very crude way of doing it, but it will work.
Nailed it. Ben, I assume there's an automated way to do this.
Oh god. I don't want to do that.
I probably need to make myself a pump. I'll do that
make
later.
a pump, get the liquid pipes and just pump it directly into a tank.
Yeah, the pump block, I think I've got one spare you can have.
Yeah, one would do.
Oh, I really don't need to go that far, do I?
I don't remember how to turn the portals back on. Otherwise, I'd do that myself.
Don't. Mine just lags.
Oh, that's right. I do remember that.
I need a lever. Nope. Bad redstone torch.
I'm just gonna restart Discord in admin mode so I don't have to keep clicking into it.
Alrighty.
Nope.
Okay. Now I have 3 advanced fluid tanks. What are you? Rice seeds floating on water.
So if I do that, then I do that.
Oh, I do have the brightness already set on bright. Gotcha.
Aha! I did it. Alright, good.
Sonic did the thing.
Nope. Don't pump stuff into there, you... I know I made you to pump stuff into there, but I didn't want you to pump stuff into there yet. And why did you default to the middle furnace? That doesn't make any sense, but... I'm making progress.
That's good.
Oh, I've lost all my waypoints. Wonderful.
Oh, did you? I can... Can I send you my list of waypoints? Is there an export?
I think there is like a share button.
Is there a share? Oh, yeah, there is, isn't there? Okay. One. I don't know if I can do multiple. I have to do them one by one.
No, you're not meant to do that. Oh no, no one, that works. Why aren't you playing the game? Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off.
I might want to avoid that cave.
What, the one
You know,
called...
Root base is literally within 100 meters of me, so
Yeah.
don't need that one.
So what I'm gonna do is I should have a speed upgrade, and if I don't, I need to make one.
Just in case they want us back.
I need this one.
I refuse to let.
What am I missing? Oh, I need osmium dust.
Oh, Sonic, you're not even on the server.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
he's
in my
playing
mode.
Feed the
I'm in
Beast
my
Ultimate.
mode.
Ah.
Yeah, because I'm a pleb.
This explains why I had osmium dust in the first place. Now I have to crush it back down.
I just realized that I put a lever directly in front of where I want to put my next chest. God, I'm an idiot.
Crushing.
I don't think ahead very far in this. And I didn't actually realize that we were going to get this far. I'm home for the night and no one's here, so I'm like, stuff, I'm going to play some Minecraft. And I jumped into the channel. I'm like, yeah, no, if anyone wants to come in and have a chat, yeah, cool. And then suddenly Wizard's like, you know what, I'm going to stream. So, you know.
And that's the story.
Pretty much the usual stuff that happens.
Yeah.
Because, you know.
The difference is I'm also testing, different audio.
Yeah. But Wizard's always looking for an excuse to stream. Not that he needs one, but, you know.
But I have an excuse just to play the server, you mean?
Or that.
This is also true. Okay, I'm gonna try 2 speed upgrades and energy upgrade. If I could spell upgrade, that'd. That's not the right upgrade I'm looking for. Let's just pop these in.
Wrench can go there.
1 speed. 2 speed.
Boop.
Energy.
Yeah, it still works. Alrighties.
Okay. Hi, Spider. How are you doing?
Well, the
Just
good news is I
chilling
don't
over
get
there.
kicked every 5 seconds anymore.
That's good.
Thanks, MBN.
Yeah. Right?
Wait,
I'm just gonna crush some gold.
people in Australia aren't allowed NBN. That's illegal.
Wait, that's illegal. Hey, it's rude.
Huh. Interesting. It recognizes his previous username. That's nice.
Alright.
Not set up, he says.
Oh, I just realized I'm going to change that. No, I want that piece of fine. You like that? Don't give it to me. Pipe. Wrench. Yes. Pipe. Nope.
Okay, the good news, Ben, is that the main server is still running at 19.95 ticks per second.
Alright.
What's the bad news?
Yeah, what's the bad news?
No. The good news continues. The tick speed of the modded server is 20.
So Sam's doing his job right.
Pretty much.
Don't tell him I said that.
Yeah. No kidding. Nah, I have to actually
If you're
move
watching
more of my
Sam,
stuff
I'll
over to
do
his
that.
servers.
I'm probably getting that too. Alrighties.
Oh, I can put 8 upgrades in. Of each.
That
But
seems somewhat unnecessary.
let's make 4 of each.
Giant. Now, does redstone have to be? Redstone's got to be underneath something, doesn't it? to work?
Root, is it okay if I share this with stream because it is amazing?
That's an epic gamer setup right there, boys.
Right? It just shows Twitch and Minecraft.
Hmm.
Let me
Are
quickly
those
load this up.
electrical wires just hanging out the back there? I can't tell.
No, that looks like speaker wire.
Oh well, yeah. Kind of explains the big box behind it.
Yeah. Okay, so those of you watching stream, this is Root's current setup while he's playing Minecraft.
What? Hey,
Holds no limits.
if it works.
Basically, what I like most is that's a microphone just chilling there on the carpet.
Right next to the computer.
Yep, it'll pick him up very well.
Again, if it works. Goddamn gravel.
This Wizard CM waypoint led me back to your original house. Wonderful.
Did I have a Wizard CM waypoint?
You had a home one, so I just renamed
Oh.
it Wizard CM. But it's like the OG starter house.
Oh yeah. There's nothing in there anymore, is there? It's just an empty cave now.
Practically. Oh, besides the enchanting table.
Oh, I should bring that over.
Is there a region here? Oh, it should be able to break it for you. Nah, it's locked. Rip.
Yeah, I thought so.
Oh, I remember why you locked it, because I kept taking bones or something out of your chest.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Frickin' thief.
Do I need? I don't understand. I do not understand why my engine will not work.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
I have tried many times.
Damn, I'm all out of ideas.
Hmm.
You know
I've
what?
tried nothing and I'm all out of ideas. Oh,
I'm an
really,
idiot.
Root? I hadn't looked into it, so yeah, it's probably still bugged.
Funnily enough, engines don't run if they've got nothing to try and pump out.
I don't remember, can I?
You know, I'm an intelligent human being. Where did I leave that other engine? Give me that.
Yeah, I need one waypoint to your jungle base.
Okay, that is filling up. My coordinates are 21, 72, 541. No thanks, Root.
Alright,
Okay. What I'll have to do... I'm gonna do a pump, yeah?
my engines refuse to run, and I'm unsure why.
I have no idea what any of this does. What kind of pump were you using, Ben? Basic mechanism
Electric
pipe.
Pump? Mechanism one? I've got one at home.
Electric pump. What am I missing for an electric pump?
It needs power.
Steel casing. What am I missing for steel casing? I'm missing steel ingots. I'm quite sure I have them in here. Yes. Let's dump some steel ingots into my ME system.
Alright, it's crude, but it works. It's also very slow. I've got to put gold piping in.
I'm still missing something.
As, root setup.
Oh, enriched.
It's probably a little. It's probably a little more refined than that.
Teeny tiny bit.
Just
Alright.
a little bit.
But it works, and that's really all I care about.
Okay. Ah! I wasn't expecting you, Ben!
Surprise, Ben!
attack.
You just landed right in front of me.
Do you want an electric pump? I've got one here for you.
I just made one. However, I'm going to need to run some wiring to it. I don't even know if I have some basic universal cable on me. Let's find out.
I've got 3 of those.
I've got 12.
You can try.
Hopefully that's enough.
Note to self, don't chuck it on the roof. I'm not sure if they're the
Ben,
water ones,
watch.
but yeah.
I had just enough.
Wow.
I don't even know which way. I think no, actually, I think the power has to go in. No, actually, it's full. It has. Next question
Yeah, you need to make a water source
is yeah. What I need is a fluid pipe. I need a wrench as well. I don't have a wrench, do I?
under it. Is it
Nope. I got a configurator. It's fine. I'm gonna. Could you? I'm just trying to think of the best way to hook this up. I would like to. Hold on.
Woo!
That's not what I needed. Where did it? Oh, the digging backpack. Fine.
Oh.
Okay. There's a cave system right next to my house. That's fine. Nobody will notice.
Just cover it up and don't tell anyone.
Well, the idea here is I am going to grab this guy. I'm going to disappear for a second. This way is closer. There's a creeper there. My setup has been the same for years, so there's no point in me showing mine off.
Does it still have the TV in the corner though?
Yes. It's not on at the moment, because I don't need it right now, but yeah, it's there.
Sadly, I had a nice big kitchen table as a desk, but I had to downgrade
To a desk as a desk?
to a proper desk, not a kitchen table.
That's unfortunate.
It was good. Had like 4 screens on it and a laptop and a desktop.
Hello, Anonymous. How are you doing? I don't actually know. Is it the... you know what? I think I've done this wrong. And what I need to do is do this 1 block lower. I haven't done this in forever.
One sticks out the side as power and the top is for your liquid, I'm pretty sure.
I got this shirt at PAX Australia either last year or the year before. Ben, could I borrow like 3 basic universal cables?
I don't have the universal ones. I have all the other ones. All the tubes and transistor ones.
Okay, that's fine. Because I realized that not only do I need to connect it here, but I need to connect it a bit higher. So I'll just make a few more. For
I have
now,
lost my house. Wonderful.
you've lost your house. Uh-oh.
Yeah, so I'll just go to
And I need to make some universal pipes anyway. No worries. I'm gonna grab this. You are gonna go here, and you're gonna go here. That's why I brought backup. This one. because what I can do here is face it this way. No, face it this way. Power goes in this way, water goes out that way.
Hey, at least you found something to do now.
Yeah, and basic universal cable is cheap. Fluid pipe? No, what do I need? Basic fluid tank. Mechanism. I don't even know which version of mechanism I'm looking for. What are we looking for? Mechanism, fluid pipe. Or just something universal. Mechanical pipe, maybe? Okay.
Having trouble finding the right things.
Mechanical pipe. I think that's what I want.
You think?
It does exist. This is a good sign. And it requires a bucket, which I already have. Good. Good.
One step closer.
Now the question becomes... Am I understanding this correctly?
That's a very important question.
I did it! First time!
Woo. Nah. I'm quite happy.
Yes!
I managed to get the first part of my building area done.
That's good.
It's pretty simple. I got 2 chests. One of them is pretty much the chest I put everything that I want smelted into. And then it'll get taken out, go to one of 3 smelters, then leave the smelters, and then go back into the chest above it. So, it's pretty simple, but it makes me happy that I thought it up myself.
I might upgrade this slightly.
I haven't played Minecraft for that long. I forgot what the shift key does.
That's
just sad.
It's a crouch. Item conduit speed upgrade. I need just a regular speed upgrade. I will take one of you. Yeah, just one should do, actually. Eventually I'll set this up so that it feeds directly into my electrolytic separator, but for now... One speed upgrade should be enough.
Dropping a sewing needle is like a cross between Where's Waldo and The Floor is Lava, except if you don't find Waldo, he's gonna stab you.
That's dark.
I don't have sewing needles, but I definitely have solder everywhere and fine little copper wires.
I mean, that's pretty much the same thing, ain't it?
It's not
I've already
nice
filled up my
having a-
basic gas tank with oxygen. So that's good.
Oof. And that was on top of Root's house as well, so wonderful.
Things we've learned from movies. Don't build a dinosaur park. Don't try and build a second dinosaur park. Don't take an aerial tour of a dinosaur park. Don't engineer bigger dinosaurs to invite a bunch of families to your dinosaur park. Don't build your dinosaur park on top of a volcano.
Spares no expense.
All of this is true.
Only gets one IT guy. It's tripping me out that I have the stream on one screen, but it's muted.
What's the delay on YouTube like?
Oh, it's pretty significant.
Try loading it up on Twitch. That should be like 2 to 3 seconds tops.
Unless you're me, then it's always like 20 seconds behind for some reason.
Twitch used to not even load on ADSL. That's why I always had to use YouTube.
Well, now you don't have to.
I had that problem ages back before I got Ambient as well.
The second I saw MBM was available, I went, yep, I want the highest tier plan. All the little nooks and crannies and everything. Now we pay like 120 a month.
Who are you with?
Aussie broadband, but we've got a business package technically.
Ah, that would
And,
do it.
Like 2 phone lines and a fax and all this other crap.
I mean, I'd say you get off pretty good then, because that's pretty standard. I pay like 110, 120, something like that.
I only need one of these to be more advanced than that.
What speeds are you getting? Is that like the
What?
medium plan or
Advanced?
higher?
I'm pretty sure we told them we go as fast as they could make it.
Does it have to be empty?
I don't know, it's like 5 meg or something.
I can do this.
At least that's like what I can see when I'm downloading shit on Steam. It's about 5 meg. So
It's funny, I've got 100 megabytes down, but Steam caps at 11.2.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Rip.
That like Steam servers just kick in and just no faster.
Like, nah, stuff you. You're not going any faster. You don't need it.
Basically. They're not
Which
used to
Steam servers are you connecting to?
I think I used the Queensland one by default.
I grabbed the Red Bull when I went out for a cigarette and I left it on the bloody table outside.
Alright, to make the ultimate one, I'm gonna need more crap. I don't wanna. Can't be bothered.
Shut up, Root.
What, Rude with his fucking 3 terabyte? Something stupid.
3 terabytes.
1 gigabit per second.
I know. Ow! That was the door. Yeah, I knew it wasn't that much, but all I know is that to me, it's like bloody light speed.
That Twitch has got a lot better response.
I'd kill someone to have half that speed.
I find it painful going to work now. Work used to have like the really good internet. Even though it was ADSL, it still was better than home. And then I come home now, it's like I can't go to work. It's just terrible.
Yeah, my work Wi-Fi is really rubbish. Like, I have to watch, if I want to have a Twitch stream running just to support someone, I have to have things very, very low. Like, 160p for it to be consistent.
Oof.
And that's on wired. The Wi-Fi is even worse. It's just unstable.
Now, if I saw someone doing that where I worked, I'd kick them off the network straight away.
What, 160p?
Yeah. Well, the office internet where I work is just terrible.
Well, it's mostly because the Overwatch League is during office hours, and I leave that running to get Overwatch League tokens.
Makes sense.
Root, you don't see the dirt at your house, don't mind me. Oh, just right in front of me.
I think he sees it.
It's possible.
Just a sneaking suspicion. But why am I using an axe to try and...
Oh, wow, it's all the way down there. So I climbed up here for nothing. God dang it.
No. Bad water. You were not ruining my plans.
No!
There we go. I'm all charged.
Root, why? Why?
Because...
Oh no, Ben!
I have no idea what just happened.
Ben was blown up by a creeper, and it was all Root's fault.
Ah.
Yeah, Root. I was up on his roof trying to get my inventory, and like he just punched me off, and there was a creeper on it. Took my life.
It's such a Root thing to do. Very rude.
It's pretty fabulous. I can anything for it.
We need the good old "why you gotta be so rude" doorbell. Don't you do it again.
Why you gotta be so Root? Not that one. I need the digging backpack. No! It's not the digging backpack. Which one does the dirt go into? The foresting one?
Probably.
Nope, it's just in my hotbar. Never mind.
am I going? Here. 293. I'm going one too far. Hup. Nope. I want to make that jump. Nope. God damn it. There we go. I did go too far.
Know what I meant to break there. Right, let's relearn Britannia.
Oh, dang it. Left all my glass down there. Ow. Glass. Glass. Make a bunch of cobblestone pipes. I'm gonna have to make another bloody engine. I'm sick of making these engines already. Need that. Gonna need that, I think. Yep. I'm gonna need more wood. I don't think I have any. How am I out of wood, of all things?
I remember this. I already have the book. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to read these instructions.
Hey, the teleporters work.
Right, I'm gonna need the flowers so that I can get the petals. And to pluck it, what do I need to do? Floral fertilizer, yeah. Or mystical petals. Right-clicking a petal on the ground while burying it. These petals can also be crushed. Yeah.
2 of them.
I think I can just stick them in the...
That
Okay, good.
piece of iron.
Hello.
Nope, that was way up. Oh, it's a piece of glass. God dang it.
Right. That will need floral white powder, or any powder, and bone meal. But I'm not going to waste those at the moment.
Got an engine. Right.
I forgot you could emote in this mod pack.
That's pretty cool.
No worries, Root. Have fun. Thanks for stopping by. Now, I need to make the apothecary. So I need cobblestone slabs, and a lime, and a petal. Do I have any petals already? No, I don't. Okay. Mystical. Oh, I've got some mystical flowers and stuff. Sweet. Means I can at least get started. And do I have any cobble in here? Yes. Let's grab a stack. I can make one of these.
Oh,
I'm gonna need water
that's
for this too.
Interesting.
I'm gonna need some piping for this. We'll probably have to move the water over to this side.
I just discovered that if I hold control and look at a chest, I can see everything inside of it.
Really? I wonder if
Yeah.
I have that capability. I do not have that capability.
I
Oh,
don't
you
know
got the
if it works-
portal working, Ben. That's
Oh,
nice.
it works with everything. It even works with furnaces and stuff. Cool. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, did get the portals working. Usually used to go through them and it would just kick me off. Or lag the server. One of the two.
Ah, but lagging stuff is fun.
I remember when WMA used to lag. Just lag awful.
Iron pipe. Where's my wrench? There's my wrench.
Matt, do you remember my 10,000 cow farm?
What?
Yes, I do.
That amount of cow sounds hilarious, to be honest.
Yep. Also laggy. It does not... Servers do not appreciate that many things in one chunk.
No, usually they do not, but you know.
Hmm.
You don't do these things to be nice to servers. You do these things because they're amusing.
Correct. Or because they're useful.
All that.
Oh, I don't have a wand. Oh, I
Don't
need...
lie, we had
Hang on,
plenty
I
of
need
steak after
seeds.
that, and we still have steak from it.
Jeez.
And that
I
was
think I
like
might
a
need
good
seeds
3
permanently.
years ago now.
Bloody hell.
A universal case.
Haha, I have a pure daisy. Now, I can place this here, and then I'm going to need
Engine.
logs. Wood. Yeah. And I need smooth stone, so I'm going to need these 2 stacks. I'm going to put a torch here as well.
Sure, I can get away with that. So just cover it and pretend that it was always meant to be like that.
Ben, have you ever played with Britannia?
Slightly, but
Okay.
not really. Well, by play, I mean just watch my friends do it, really.
Fair enough. Well, you're going to continue doing that, because I'm making some living stone and living wood, because I need to make a wand.
As long as it doesn't grow and spread everywhere, I think we're all good.
Isn't that where the fun is, though? No, crouch.
I remember in Thorncraft there was this block that used to spread. It was like purple and it was like a fungus. And you
Oh yeah,
place
that was
one
part of
just
Thorncraft.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
place like one block outside of your mate's house, and it just used to devour the whole thing.
Yep.
So pretty much you always did that just because it was hilarious?
Yes.
Nice.
This is now why I'm blacklisted from the server.
Really? For something as trivial as that?
Yeah, but the funny thing is, I host it, but my friend's got remote privileges to the server, so he's just blacklisted me.
Wow, what a...
It's one way to do it.
Exactly.
I might make myself a second one of these. I'm gonna need more mystic flowers.
I'm always tempted to ditch this world and go to that one.
Do it. You can come see our fun stuff.
And then run the hell away from you lot so you can't destroy me and then just do my own thing.
Well, if you ever see any destroyed houses over the place, you literally just know where I've been.
Yep, that gives me even more reason to stay the hell away.
Yep. You go near spawn and there's like good 3 houses that are literally 20 blocks within each other that are all from me.
Bloody hell.
And I've just took out all the good stuff and just left the rest.
Oh, you gotta have fun somewhere.
Exactly.
This is true.
Well, let me just, that there. That there, that there, that there. There. Why do I have meat? I don't need to eat on this, in this world.
That's good. Saves you some time.
I did it, yeah, that's pretty much it. I did it because I was lazy.
I remember when I had a food glitch on WMA and I didn't have to eat for like a good 3 weeks until I realized it was actually a bug.
It's not a bug, it's a feature.
It worked on my machine. Really, man, I thought you'd giggle like that.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
Yeah, rude.
So is the whole thing with engines, like the redstone engine, if you use multiple in a row, does it increase the efficiency of them? Because it used to work like that.
I honestly don't remember.
No, that's cool.
I use solar power.
Well, I'm not fancy enough to have enough solar panels to power electric engines.
Fair enough. I store everything in a battery.
Yeah. Well, I haven't bothered doing that yet. And why do my leaves? Never mind. I was about.
No,
to
actually,
yell about
sorry.
trees.
An elite energy cube and an ultimate energy cube.
Well, fancy you. I almost yelled at my trees for growing because I thought I broke all the leaves on them, but no, it turns out it was just another tree that was growing.
Fair enough.
I almost yelled at the wrong tree.
Root, my cat's been a bit like that recently as well. She's been sleeping with me at night, occasionally getting on my lap. She used to do that a lot and then stopped doing it, and recently has picked up on it again.
I was gonna say it'd be a shame when she did stop doing it because your cat is bloody adorable.
Also has sharp claws.
Yes. I didn't get to experience that because she just ran away from me,
Yeah.
which I was not surprised about. I would probably run away from a stranger that I had no idea who they were as well.
Well, she seems to do that to everyone. You basically need to spend a whole day here for her to get comfortable.
That's fair. I relate to a cat way too much.
That kind of sounds sad, but okay.
I don't like people, okay? Leave me alone. Alright, all my trees have almost grown.
I don't like people in a work export job. It does not work well.
Why does this song sound like the Attack on Titan song? I do not want to listen to that because I do not particularly like that show. Alright, all my rubber trees have almost grown. And one of them is only 1 block high. What the hell is that? Try to have a hopper.
I'm basically generating a stack of living stone and living wood for myself. Don't have to worry about it for a little bit. It's the waiting game. Modern Minecraft does a lot of waiting, Ben. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of waiting in vanilla as well, depending on what you're doing.
Yeah, I guess.
I remember when I used to farm this game for like 8 hours straight, but I'm barely flat out playing it for an hour now.
Yeah, that happens. There's a reason people moved on. Like, this is the thing that bugs me about Minecraft in general. It just didn't, progress as quickly as it should have. In terms of features, instead of in terms of gameplay. So much potential that was just wasted. If a Torturino? What's a Torturino?
My
Well,
mouse died.
hopefully, Microsoft is slowly pushing that a little further.
Yeah, they are. Giving them a bit more of a budget is a good step there, and they're revamping the texture pack to actually make it consistent, which is a good thing.
When are they gonna add in-game mod support?
You mean the plugin API that was promised in that one Minecon?
Yeah, basically.
Don't know.
That was like what, 4 or 5 years ago?
At least 5 or 6, yeah.
Bloody hell. I suppose when they feel like it.
Well, they had to rewrite so many aspects of the game for it to have a more stable API.
Ah, okay then.
Oh, really, Root? I wouldn't want to... I don't think it does, actually, Root. My understanding is that Vazky, the guy who makes Botania, he specifically designed the mod to ignore stuff like game tick modifying mods. Because he wanted to keep it balanced. Which I am all for.
Who wants to keep stuff balanced?
That's like when I had Draconic armor on one server and just no one could defeat me. It was just that overpowered.
I was actually about to throw a stab at Overwatch there for a moment when you were talking about balance, but I'm like, nah. They're trying, I think.
They're making positive steps. Unfortunately, it's about 2 years too late.
Yeah, that's it, and you
They
can kind of tell that now.
they threw too many developers at Overwatch League, specifically stuff like spectator mode and all of those tools, rather than things for players to use, because there are a lot more players than there are pro players.
But again,
Ben,
it's
step
like-
away from the stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The zombie pushed you towards it.
Yeah, I'm sitting here firing up VMs. I'll make it so I can actually see Minecraft.
I am 1 living rock short. It's twice that I accidentally destroy the cobblestone too early. Okay. Now, what do I need to do next? I need to make my wand. So, what colors should my wand be? I vote red and something.
It's not gonna work.
I don't have any red flowers. It'll have to be blue and orange. That's the color that my wand will be.
What am I doing here? My brain just doesn't want to work right now.
Yeah, that'll happen on a Friday night.
Hmm.
Where's my living rock? Living rock is there. I need my living wood, which I'm gonna guess ended up in here.
Need that anymore.
Where did it end up? You are not...
I think my problem is I'm starting to try and do something I don't actually need to do right now.
Hmm.
It's something I had an idea for, then I realized that was a dumb idea, so I stopped it, and then I forgot that I stopped it.
Oh, it's right there. I'm blind. I'm blind. That's all it is. How do I make... Oh. Living wood. I can't... Not living wood planks. Okay. So these are useless. Oh, I need 3 of these. And then I need blue. I need orange. Yay! I have a wand of the forest. How do I disable the tutorial?
You're gonna start being all magical, are you?
Yep, I'm getting that.
Damn it.
He's gonna be a wizard.
Made myself a mana pool. Oh, do I need a diluted mana pool? Small buffer. Thanks to that, mana readings for the normal pool won't be entirely accurate due to the scale. It's normal displayed. Okay. Da. Okay, but what was the correct way to collect mana? Spreader? No.
Damn, I need some.
I will need this, though. I need a gold ingot. Just one.
Well, I might head off for the night, gents.
Right up.
I've got wonderful work in the morning, so better not stay up too late.
Oof.
Alright, good night.
Yeah, that's definitely an oof.
Yeah.
Catch you up, man.
Alright, cheers.
Poor bastard. He's got to work on a bloody Saturday. Need oak wood. There we go. Here's some oak wood. Alright, now that I think I'm done building, I think I can actually start smelting everything that I need.
Oh, right, I can craft this one. TNT. It'll eat any food. Liquid-based passive generator. They will suck up any still water, creating mana from it, and compared with that of an ender flame. They also seem to function faster during rain, and will decay after 1 hour of real-world time. Right, that was his method of balancing this one out. I also... blue and cyan petal.
As soon as that goes in, it should start burning. Awesome.
Any leaves near the flower will get munched up. No saplings or other items will be dropped from the leaves. Okay. That could be a good one. Oh, that requires a rune of gluttony. Bubba, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Oh, that one's going to need mana diamonds. I don't have that yet. I might start with a basic hydrophalangeus. Lava counterpart. Absorb lava. Needs a bit of time to cool down before it can absorb more.
Yes, my system works.
That's good.
Yes. Aha! I am so happy.
Oh, that's a clever one. I will need to use this one at some stage.
Alright.
Oh, that's easy. I need to make myself a runic altar as well. Oh, that's going to need a mana thingy. Gotcha. Okay, so I have made things. Yeah. I don't need the tutorial. I get this much.
Alright, it's slow.
Yes, I need one of these. Tutorial is over. Yep, thank you. So, I have a spreader, I have a pool, I need a hydrophalangeus, which... Hydroangius. I need Mystic Blue and Mystic Cyan.
Wow, that speeds that up incredibly. It's awesome.
How many do I need? 2 petals. Okay, so what I can do is I can make 4 cyan. And that will let me at least get started. What? Oh, whoops. I shouldn't have done that.
Oh, I was gonna say, game, please don't crash. It has been ages since it saved, I'm pretty sure.
Minecraft automatically saves every time you open the pause menu.
Oh, really?
It should, yeah.
Well, that I still would have been wrong because I haven't opened the pause menu in ages.
It does automatically save on a timer, but if you want to force save, you
Okay.
open the pause menu. Right,
That
what
is
else do I need for this? Just them. Okay. Oh, and I do need seeds. Okay. Gotcha. That's one. And then I need more water. Right click with an empty hand to add back the last recipe. Oh, that's cool. I will accept this. Now,
Alright, I am making progress.
so am I.
And yep, cool. My furnaces can't really keep up with the amount that's going into them at the moment, which is exactly what I was looking for. Because they've got a lot to go through. I'm actually probably just going to run out of coal though, which is not good. Which means I need to get round to building an electric furnace soon.
Those usually help.
Yes, what do I need for them? Oh, really? Oh, okay, it's just, I just need circuits. And I've got more than enough of most things for that.
Not what I meant to do.
That main tree top should do.
I think that can go there.
Sticky resin. Sticky resin. Sticky resin.
Oh, 3x3 area. Right.
I should make some batteries that way I can store some power in case I'm gonna need it later on.
Oh, on the same height? So do I need to... Does that work? Oh. Yeah, so that should work. Nope, that's too far. I need one more this way. How much mana do you have? Okay, it's collecting a bit.
Oh no! Fuck!
Did you die?
Oh no, honestly, I actually feel like I've done worse than that.
Oh?
I forgot that you can't break certain machines with just a pick.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, I broke my macerator with the pick.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
You need a
No
wrench.
longer. Yes, and I'm not entirely sure which wrench it is, to be honest. I know, because I know there are several different types of wrenches I can get, and I don't know which one it is. I'll have to look that up. But yeah, no, I just completely I'm so upset with myself, I'm an idiot. Because god damn it. How could I do that to myself? I gotta do that to my macerator.
Yeah, how could you?
Ah, well, I'll just have to build another one. Fucking damn it. Where's Macerator at? Macerators are important to me. Of course I need circuits. I've got pretty much everything I need for it, luckily. Whoops!
1 hour of in-game time.
What can I... I broke one of my chests and there was stuff in it.
Yep, that'll happen.
God damn it. Alright, let's see. Cobblestone. Redstone I need, that I need, those. I don't think I need the gear. Flint, I suppose I'll need. Machine casing I need. I think that's all I need for now. I can't believe I did that. Ooh,
Floral obedience stick.
What?
Dubbed the Floral Obedience Stick, right-clicking with it on a mana spreader or mana pool in the world will bind all relevant nearby flowers to it.
Cool. What can you do with flowers?
A lot of them generate mana for you, but they're specific flowers. So you've got an Ender Flame, which does it based on burning items. It will absorb any combustible items or blocks. You've got the Entropinium. In order to generate a blast of mana, one might in fact require a blast nearby. So TNT exploding nearby will power this flower. There's one will eat food that you throw nearby. One absorbs water from nearby.
Strange.
Munch Dew will... by using the Munch Dew, any leaves near the flower will get munched up and converted into mana.
So pretty much it'll just convert a bunch of random crap into mana for you.
Pretty much, yep. And because all of them are consumables, you have to maintain them. So in the case of the water pool, for example, the actual water plants will die out in an hour of in-game time. So you have to replace them, basically, I think.
That's pretty cool, though. I kind of like how that works.
Yeah, it's nature-based magic.
That's actually really cool.
And it's balanced really well.
Well, yeah, I mean, stuff will decay over time, essentially, so that's... That's really good.
And there's one based on experience points, which is useful because those are pretty easy to get in Minecraft.
I was going to say, like, you probably have got an abundance of it.
Well, I mean, I haven't played enough. I think I have 56,000 milli something of experience in a fluid tank. Oh, that's where my elite fluid tanks are. I'm holding experience in them.
But as you said, experience is important, so...
Yes. I was collecting it for something else, but this is probably more important.
Probably. Alright, so I was breaking everything...
Oh, that's not what I meant to do. You were saying?
I was talking to myself.
Okay.
You know me, I do that a lot.
So do I. I right-clicked with my atomic disassembler on the flower instead of using my wand of the forest. And when you right-click on dirt or anything near dirt with the disassembler, it behaves like a hoe. So it hoed an area around the plant.
Well, probably gonna need iron. What else am I gonna need? I think I'm gonna need refined iron. I think that should be good for now. I might actually.
So I'm gonna drop some iron in there and see what happens.
Oh no, they were spitting out my It was spitting out my stuff. Why were you spitting out my stuff? You're not.
Oh, that's not good. I only had enough mana in the pool for one ingot. That's problematic. This might take a while. This might take a long time. Mana Spreader, you should be dumping stuff in there. Why aren't you?
I did wrong. Don't you think I need some of that cobblestone? So I'll take a stack. Zoom. I just realized I should probably keep one furnace free for stuff that I need to cook at the moment.
Yeah, probably.
I didn't really think about that until I'd already started cooking stuff. That's alright. Because I have a bunch of sticky resin. No, I don't want to cook sticky resin yet. What was I making? Macerator. I need a circuit. Circuits are easy. I have enough copper. I believe it was refined iron. Did I pick up? I picked up tin, not refined iron.
Oh yeah. Easy mistake to make.
I don't have any refined iron. Interesting.
Seriously, I thought these decayed after 1 hour. But they seem to be fine. They're slow, but they're fine.
I do not understand why that is happening.
Me neither.
No, my my pipes are spitting out excess cobblestone that they can't put into the furnace.
I have no idea what to tell you.
No, I don't know. So instead of doing what I believe it should do, and just pretty much go back along the pipe, it's spitting it out. So I think I might have to make a system which, if it's full, will go back into the other pipe. Which could prove to be problematic because stuff likes to be temperamental. I can't use that. Of course I can't use that because it wants to be a dick. Where are all my pipes? Cobblestone pipe. I'll try, I need to cook some iron. Of course I can't
I don't remember what the range on
do it.
mana spreaders is, so I'm just gonna place one here. No, you're supposed to be like that. I don't remember how any of this works. No idea. As long as I'm generating mana at this stage, I don't care. I'm gonna need a lot though. I have nowhere near enough. Because what I think I'll do, it's almost 1 in the morning. I will... Wait, is my Twitch chat not loading? Or did I ignore the bot? When did the bots... When did the bot... Or did it speak the wrong channel? Okay. Okay, I just need to double my mana ingots and grab a mana ender pearl. And then once I've done that, I will be able to use my player experience to generate mana instead of waiting for water to take forever. It used to be that you could just place a couple of... there was one that was specifically for sun instead of fire, or alongside fire. And if you just had enough flowers that could use the sun, I usually had enough mana. But I guess I can't do that. It was too easy to automate. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. Don't tell me I ignored Bottissimo as well. Better not have, because that's an important bot. Not what I'm looking for. Filtering. Don't want to filter. Doesn't seem to be a save button, so I will accept this as truth and... That's better. Ages ago. That's silly. Still can't drop another one in. No. Might add some music. Just so we've got something, you know? There we go. We're just gonna watch lines move.
No, do they not happen? Not a thing? Oh, stone cover, there we go. Cover crafting. Combine a structural dock. How do I make a structural dock? A lead ingot and 2 iron ingots. So I made that sword for absolutely 0 reason. And I'm just...
I love it when that happens in modded Minecraft.
Well, it's how you used to do it when I first used this, so I just assumed it'd be the same, but that was a really bad idea apparently. So that can go
that's a
into
bummer.
the hole. That can go into the hole that I'm covering with. You know what? Just go into the chest. I don't want to see you anymore. I don't actually think I... Oh, I do have lead. Awesome. Now, how do I get nuggets?
One more mana steel.
I'm beginning to have way too much crap in my inventory. This always happens.
Yeah, that's Minecraft, especially modded Minecraft.
Yeah, it gets a bit ridiculous, but you know, whatever.
Well, there's a reason I'm carrying like 8 backpacks, a bag of holding, and an ender sack. But the problem is, I haven't memorized which items go into which backpacks automatically. Because they're designed so that if you pick stuff up, it automatically throws them into the relevant backpack. So there's a building backpack, foresting, hunting, and mining, and digging. So I have to keep track of, okay, I picked up this item and it most likely went into the mining backpack, or the digging backpack.
And you're just like, please, which one is it?
Pretty much.
Alright, well, I worked out how to make faces, which is good. I don't know if I can do it with every material, so... But I can do it with stone at bare minimum. And that's okay at the moment.
Hello QW, welcome to the stream. Hope your day's going well. My hotkeys aren't working. I wonder if it's because I had... Interesting. I'm learning things. How you doing?
What are these faces for? You used to be able to... Cobblestone cover, yeah, you used to be able to... They keep changing shit.
If you're curious what we're doing, I'm playing HermitPack. Sonic, who is in voice chat with me, is playing Feed the Beast Ultimate. I'm currently waiting on Britannia to generate me enough mana for me to be able to make a... Rosa Arcana, which will allow me to generate mana using my experience, because I have this elite fluid tank which contains my player experience. And it's much faster than generating it using the damn water over here, because look at this thing. This one. So far, I've been able to make 4 mana steel ingots. Whoop, make that 5. Okay, now I just need 1 ender pearl. Now I wait. That little X needs to turn into a little check mark. And then I can continue. And then once I've made this, I will probably go to bed. Because it's 1 in the morning. Not that button.
These covers I can't use for the pipes, they're for docks.
Okay.
Yeah, they're for docks. God damn it.
I don't need rib bones. Why would I need rib bones?
I just...
Hello, Jordos123. Happy Friday. Hope your day's going well.
Get inside of dock.
I'm trying to organize myself. Because this next step, I will need things.
Alright.
You can change your name every 90 days? Something like that. I need... Here? 2... hang on. Yeah. 2 pink. Cool. 2 purple. Yes! And I need a lime. I will have to go flower hunting tomorrow. That's what I will have to do. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I haven't made a runic altar yet. Oh, I need I need 2 mana pearls. Okay. I can do that.
Alright, I believe I've worked out I'm gonna have to change all of my piping that I've made.
That's unfortunate.
But it's purely for the sake of neatness as well.
Ah. Okay.
Because all this piping works.
That's a valid reason.
Except it's exposed in the walls. What I wanted to do, and what you could do with the previous buildcraft was make a stone cover, which you would put. It would pretty much go on top of the surface, so you could use it to cover like chests or or pipes and stuff. So it would just look like the rest of the wall, which was brilliant. But you can't use the current covers with the pipes because it's from thermodynamics, not buildcraft, and they're not compatible.
Ah. This
the
is why
buildcraft-
Mechanism has universal cables that are designed to work with as many mods as possible.
Yeah. That's why I'm almost tempted to jump on that server. That way it works.
Pretty much. That's why I like Mechanism.
I've got this one, so I'm just gonna stick with it. Now that I know it's fine. Like, I didn't realize that they changed. I probably should have looked into that, but, you know, that's what they get for changing shit on me.
Yeah. Not nice.
But no, now I know. But, luckily the thermodynamics ducts work with the Buildcraft assemblies. So it'll still work with, you know, my pulverizers and macerators and everything like that, which is what I was actually quite worried about.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure about industrial craft, but I just have a feeling they're both one and the same. Well, let's give this a shot, shall we? I was in the middle of building something completely different, and then I just start this because it screwed me over. I need an item duck.
Really, Jordis? Does it tell you why? I'm gonna quickly load up my settings.
Vacuum item duck, dense item duck. Oh god, there are other
It
types of
should
item
be
ducks.
on the... Wait, you can have more than one Twitch account with one email address? Yeah, there's an edit button next to the username field in settings. Username updates can be performed once every 60 days. The update takes effect immediately and will affect how your friends and followers recognize you. So you go to settings, profile, and then under profile settings, your username box has a pencil next to it. Did I just hear an Enderman die nearby? I think that's what I heard. Ooh, that should speed these up. Oh, hello. Yay, experience. I'm gonna need this. Come on. Did that actually speed this up? Like, I don't know if these things are working well. This is my only problem with, Oh. Hi, zombie. Oh, there's a creeper over there. Let's just keep you over here, shall we? There we go. Wait, I think that's a good sign. Yes. Just need one more mana pile. But in the meantime, I can craft the thing that I need. Please tell me I closed the door behind me. Good. Yes, I did. Mana pile got picked up and thrown into one of my chests. What would that go under? Hunting, maybe? Nope.
Nope, sorry. Thought I was muted. Alright, let me just... I would say keep burning, but you can't keep burning because you're all out of coal. Alright. What was I making before I started all this? Because I can't actually make any of the other crap yet. So that's fun. I'm quite upset by it, to be honest. I was making another solar panel. No, I wasn't. I was making an electric furnace.
I've forgotten how to turn off the teleporter. It's draining my power for no reason. Wait, hang on. Did I have power in this direction? How am I powering this?
Magic. Actually, now that I think of it, that's probably not actually an unreasonable
no, this is
thing to
Sonic.
think.
Ben was on earlier. This is a teleporter that goes to Ben's, though.
I am the lesser of two evils.
I don't actually know how I'm getting power to this, because yeah, I've got a power cable running here. But does only one end of the teleporter need to be powered? Or does it just have... Did I put so much power in it at one stage that it's just running off of that?
Was I remaking my macerator? I might have been remaking my macerator too.
I would love to know how I did that.
By the sounds of it, pure magic.
Maybe.
So, I got
Maybe.
no idea what the hell you got on about.
So basically, Mechanism has teleporters that you build very similarly to nether portals, but you can essentially connect them, like connect specific portals to each other, and they are powered by electricity. And I don't know how I'm powering this one. It's on Ben's frequency.
Like I said, magic.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I might be able to do it with my configurator. Uh-oh. Not what I meant to do.
No, we'll make an electric furnace because I actually quite need that right now.
Okay, if it's set to an invalid frequency, that also seems to turn it off. I might just set it to an invalid frequency or something, I don't know. It can sit there, it'll be fine.
Ow, my ears. Thank you, game.
Oh no.
No! Come back here! Oh, god damn it. Thank you.
Alright, I had that mana pearl. I can now make my runic altar.
Nice. I have 2 electric furnaces.
I don't remember what kind of space requirements it has, so I'm just gonna put it there. Oh right, no, actually, it has to...
I just realised I'm not actually running a Discord overlay for this game. Oh, that would be why. Because Discord isn't
too long.
picking up. Discord isn't picking up the game.
Yes, that is correct. Most likely because you're using the Twitch launcher.
Most likely. But I can just force it to pick up the game. And never mind, it still won't work. Whatever. That's a little upsetting, but that is part of the reason why I have a second screen. Hey, it's working now. It just
Jodos, try turning off your ad block.
Ooh.
I think it's time.
To do?
Yes.
Nice. You know, I've only just realised with all of the stuff that I've got around my furnaces, I don't actually know if I can get power to them.
Ah.
Because of all of the like piping and everything I've got around them. I don't actually know if there's enough room to get
I don't have enough mana, damn it!
Yes! There is enough room for piping. For cables, sorry.
Or do I just need the wand?
Shit, how do I get in here? Over here.
Nope, I don't have enough mana. Damn. Yeah, it needs that much mana.
Excuse me, do not flood my house, please. Bloody rude. Oh, did that put out on? No, I didn't put out redstone torches.
This is while it's raining too. This is taking forever.
Oh yeah, I do believe I heard you mention that it's quicker while raining, apparently.
Yes. It's not feeling quicker? That's my perspective on it.
Cool, I do have some cables on me.
But yeah, Jodos, the other thing I would suggest is try it in... I was testing it in Firefox, I think. Try it in Firefox? We just need that little X. Do you think this music goes well with the visual? I'm just impatiently waiting for this mana. Early days of Britannia. There you go, Pearly. It's that easy. How you doing, Sonic? Things working out for you? Not breaking things with the wrong tools? You're muted, by the way.
God damn it. I will remember that eventually. At the moment, I'm refusing to build things that I could possibly break with the wrong tools.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's a thing. I'm just trying to get things sorted. At the moment, I'm trying to wire up my electric furnace. But it's taking me forever because I keep backtracking.
Ah.
And I also
Now-
can't see anymore because I accidentally broke my torch.
I have 2 black wool. I don't have enough wool to make a bed.
Ah.
It's alright, I saw like 50 sheep over this way.
I
should make
actually
some
haven't made
shears.
a bed since I've started.
Yeah, me
I
neither.
have waypoints I can teleport to.
So do I, but I don't like using them.
No, neither do I.
I had a teleportation one. Let's use that.
Wait, really? This block is directly above my furnaces? Okay, so... I'm going to look up, because I don't want to risk breaking it. Industrial... craft... solar panel.
Hello, zombies. I need you for experience, actually. I should see if I can grab that zombie spawner. Oh god! Interesting. I didn't realize we had creeper damage disabled. I will accept this.
Apparently I need a red wrench, so that one. Really, a bunch of bronze? I don't even know if I can make that yet.
Hello, spirit! How are you doing? Ooh. I would like to talk to you. How are you doing? No!
Bronze blend or pulverized copper and pulverized tin. So I need a bronze wrench to break these solar panels, and for that I need an induction smelter.
Mm-hmm. It becomes an endless loop eventually. I need this thing because I need this thing because I need this thing because it requires these things.
Yes, but I want to move my bloody... I want to move my solar panels instead of, like, having a stupid amount of wiring. And then they'll be in a generally better position to be for where all my machinery's going to be. They'll be pretty much directly above it, but at ground level, obviously, so...
Oh look, it's an endermini.
It's a mini enderman.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got a...
I found the sheep.
That sounds important.
Well, I needed to make a bed, you know.
Oh yeah, that's right, I forgot that's what I did. Alrighties, what do I need? I need 2 copper gears. Easy to do. I need 2 pieces of sand. I need an Ivar gear. How the
Probably,
hell
why
do I
not
make
both?
Ivar? Ah, okay. Apparently I need an induction smelter to make Ivar. But I need Ivar to make an induction smelter.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry, what? That doesn't make any sense. Maybe I just make an induction
doesn't need to.
furnace? I'm sorry, what? That does not make any sense at all. Okay, how do I make a bronze blend? Aha! That's how I can make a bronze blend. And then I can cook a bronze blend, I guess, into a bronze ingot. Okay, I don't need to go through the whole induction thing. I'm good. Alright.
Glad to hear it.
There's always another way of doing things in these damn games.
Yep.
You just gotta know how, which I usually don't. But with enough poking around, so I need pulverized copper. I also need to put some of my other materials away. I have way too many.
For example, my teleportation wand is much faster than using the hover mode of my jetpack.
It's pretty much a IO vendor. It's just you don't have to throw it.
Pretty much, yep.
That's pretty cool. I kind of want one.
It's still not enough mana, damn it.
So blend is 3 copper and 1 tin. That gives me 4. I believe 1 dust should make an ingot. Awesome. And I forgot how to spell wrench. And I need, really, I wish I only needed 4 ingots, but I need 6.
I assumed the hunting backpack contained the wool, but it did not. It was in the building backpack.
I mean, you use it to build stuff, so I suppose that makes sense.
You also use it for furniture. And for clothing.
This is true.
I've switched between a couple skins, Pearly, but this one feels the most me, I guess.
Which skin are you using? I've seen your skin.
Ezio.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I like mine. You know the basic clone troopers on Star Wars Battlefront 2, but the Xbox 360 version?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're like the white with the blue. That's my skin. Because, you know, Star Wars Battlefront 2 was the bomb.
Okay, I have a bed now. Let's place it here somewhere. That's not the bed. This is the bed. I can't place the bed on this. That's unfortunate.
How do I make that? Aha!
Oh, I can't
wrench.
place it there.
Yay! Now, hopefully this is the correct wrench.
I still can't place it on that.
Yay! It worked. I believe this was the hole I needed. Yes. So I suppose... Pop, pop. There are no trees. There is a tree here. Go away, tree. I'm sorry, I like you, tree, but your leaves are going to get in the way of my solar panels. Your leaves are already in the way. It's alright, they'll disappear soon. Just a hole I need. This one?
The amount they produce is comparable to that of an endoflame. They also seem to function faster during rain. Fleeting flora will decay after 1 hour. What do I do if they decay? How do I know if it's decayed?
You don't, I suppose.
Like, I assume it's doing its job because I can see the mana bar going up. I has no idea.
Oh crap, I just accidentally locked myself into a random cabin.
Why would you do that?
Because I'm not a very intelligent person.
Ah, I see.
Yeah. Also need to dig out some dirt from somewhere so I can cover the hole that's at the back of my house.
Oh yeah? it was an Enderman creeper. When
Wait,
it
that's a
explodes,
thing?
it teleports you. In modded Minecraft it is, yeah.
That's terrible. I mean, does it hurt you?
Yes, but I'm wearing armor.
Okay. So to say, like, getting teleported as you explode just doesn't sound very pleasant, to be honest.
No.
You're just like, nah, it's really not, but you know, what can you do?
Pretty much.
Sometimes you just go pop, and congratulations.
Oh, I'm... That's not how my mouse was supposed to work.
You sure?
Let's fix the tree up here.
Wait, why was I saying the sky is too dark? Piss off. The sky is not too dark. You're just being rude.
This should be the instrumental version. Excellent. I'm almost debating making 2 more of these guys. Blue and cyan.
Oh god, that's terrifying. I placed a cable and I ended up inside of the cable.
Oh.
That was somewhat terrifying. Need more cobblestone. Where'd I put all my cobblestone? There's my spare cobblestone.
I don't have enough blue petals.
Oh. Oh. Yep. Alright, well good to know I have the correct wrench to break electric furnaces. Because I accidentally just broke one.
I don't think I'm going to be able to stay up long enough to get this working because it's too dang slow. Like, I'm just going to explore a bit and see if I can find more of these dang flowers. Because I'm going to need them. That's a tea plant. It's not how... No, it's not that I'm tired, Pearly. It's that it's 1:30 in the morning. I could stay up playing Minecraft all night. That's one of the dangers. Especially in this mod pack. I lagged for a second there. Also, I don't drink coffee. Ow. I don't mind the coffee taste. When I was younger, I did have coffee-flavored snacks. But I just... I'm not interested. Same as alcohol. I will need you.
Sorry, I thought I was muted. God damn it.
I have never had an energy drink. I did not know there was a village out here. The hell happened to this roof?
Oh, that's why.
What kind of...
Direct cable connection is not available for the electric furnace.
That sounds unfortunate.
Yeah, so I don't really know what else to do.
I might take the iron, but I don't need anything else from this building. That's some very bright carpet, sir. Jam guy. He has jam.
New storage block?
Cubara jam. What kind of jam do you accept? Plapple jam. Okay.
Okay, so why would you have an electric furnace that can't be powered by cables?
Just to screw with your players.
Yeah, pretty much. And not gonna lie, it's working. Because now I don't know how to power this thing. Because I was relying on being able to power it with my bloody solar panels, but if I can't connect it by cable, then I don't know how to.
Well, this guy takes 5 gunpowder and gives me an emerald. I will accept that. I don't think I have any gunpowder, but that's cool.
What's the next level of furnace? That's all I can think of. Probably an induction furnace.
Maybe.
Which is a bunch of copper, an electric furnace, advanced machine casing. Oh.
Druid, what is with your eyes? 4 apples for an emerald. 9 beetroot for an emerald. That's cheap.
Advanced alloy.
6 gunpowder. Dude, you're just Sage. You're just like the other guy, except more expensive.
I need to put a mixed metal ingot into a compressor.
Same with you, even more expensive. An electrician. If I give him 13 copper wire, he will give me an emerald. If I give him 6 emeralds, he will give me engineer's wire cutters. Wire coil. So you're from immersive engineering, are ya?
Let's see what upgrades I can get.
That's another sage. Pearly, there were some really good village enhancing mods back in the day. I don't remember what it was called, but there was one that completely overhauled villages into like an RPG, basically. Oh, a bean sprout. Tiny little bean sprout. Hi Skelly, how you doing? I need you for your experience. I hear that witch. Do you hear that witch? I will take this helmet. Okay, though. Oh, the creeper's spirit. Skelly. I have armor, you do not. Means it will end badly for you. Another one. Hello. It's all a learning experience, Sonic.
Oh, it's just irritating that it's like the first electric thing you can get, and the only way you can power it is with the
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
You went.
I am in pain.
Ah, you're fine. Apparently. See, it says that it can be powered by a solar panel. It doesn't say how.
I hear you, witch. Oh, she dropped a bow. I need one of those. Hi, spider. Apologies. Ow! Oh, jeez. You guys are aggressive. Mind if I kill you? Oh, my game crashed, I think. Nope, just froze. It's fine. Okay, slight problem. I've run out of melons.
No mind, apparently a cable can do it. I misread. So
That's
why
good.
isn't mine working?
Do you need to attach it to a specific side?
No, I'm thinking...
Or maybe you have to use a wrench to attach it to a particular side.
No, it attaches... It attaches automatically, I think. They only travel a certain speed. Yeah, okay, it loses 0.2... Okay, it loses 0.2 energy per block.
Oh jeez, really?
And these generators only produce like shit all. I think they only do like 1 per second or something. So pretty much the cabling is way too far away. Obviously it won't tell me how much. Yeah, it's way too far away. So
Fair enough. That'd explain it.
pretty much I just need a cable that can...
Yeah.
Yeah, I need a way to stop it from losing so much energy.
Don't build things so far apart.
Kinda don't have a choice. I mean, I kinda do. I built it all underground because I thought it'd be fun. I could just dig a hole, like, and then drop the solar panels down, because that way technically light would still be getting in. So I could insulate it so it loses... See, tin cables are crazy. They can't hold enough. Charge. pretty much glass fiber cables is really what I'm looking for.
Yeah, Pearly, I agree. Pearly says this sounds complicated.
It is, and it's hurting my brain as well, dude. So, you know. Pretty much I screwed up by putting everything down so far because I thought it would be cool.
Lesson learned.
I like to have a house, and then inside the house you go downstairs, and that's where I build everything. But it's just the fact that since I made everything so far down, without really realizing it, that I'm gonna have to drop my solar panels down. Which is fine, because I know now that I can break... My range has durability, are you kidding me?
Everything does, usually.
I know, I just didn't realize that the range had durability, and that upsets me. I just need glass fiber. Like, once I can get glass fiber cables, I'm set. They pretty much don't lose any energy over time.
What am I trying to do, Pearly? So, in Botania, which is the magic mod that I'm working with, you use specific flowers to get mana. These ones, that's really interesting. These flowers, these two, are dependent on water nearby, and they pick up the mana. So if I right-click on this, you can see there's a little progress. And these mana spreaders basically take it from these flowers and pass it down the green glowing line, which goes to this mana pool. This mana pool carries the mana, and you can use it in things nearby. In this case, I'm doing it in this runic altar. And in this runic altar, I've already placed the items that I need within it, but I need a certain amount of mana, 1%, to create this little item here, right here, so that I can then, where is it? I want to make this, this flower, which, while these ones use water to generate mana, this one uses experience. So, to make this, I need 2 purple, 2 pink, a lime, and this rune of mana. Now, this rune of mana requires 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana steel ingots, and 1 mana pearl, which I've got floating around here, in a runic altar, and it requires 1 thing of mana here, yeah? So...
And you thought what I was doing was complicated. Although
so because,
you know what you had to do, so...
Yeah. So because I have only just started the mod, and because I only have 2 of these flowers generating mana... Ooh, there was a little blast of mana there. I'm generating mana very slowly. Now, once I am able to use experience to generate mana, I have a lot of mana in... a lot of XP in here, and I have this experience obelisk, which allows me to actually pull out player levels. If I were to grab 20 levels, I think I should be able to. It's attached here somehow. I just need to remember how to... this side here. Yeah, that's currently only configured for push, not pull. So that allows me to configure which way the experience can go. And right now it's not actually configured for retrieving. But the idea here is that I can place levels into this obelisk, which then gets sucked up into the fluid tank. And when I need that experience again later, in this case to generate mana, I can pull it out of the fluid tank into the obelisk and back into the player, so that I can then stand near this Rosa Arcana, which will then take my player experience and turn it into mana, which should speed up the process significantly. That's what I'm waiting on, but I honestly think I'd be better off going to bed and coming back to this tomorrow.
You can just let it run and do its thing, or...
Well, I don't know if
Oh, no,
will.
it only lasts... That's right, I believe you said it only lasts like an hour or something, so...
Well, an hour in-game time, but that's already passed.
Was it in-game? I thought it was out-of-game.
No,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought it was an
oh
hour.
no, 1 hour of real-world time, you're right.
Yeah. So...
Okay.
It's not too bad.
So when did I generate it?
I honestly cannot remember. I've been trying not to pull my own hair out dealing with this thing.
So I'd be better off just waiting here until these decay.
Possibly.
Now, the challenge, Pearly, is for this initial bit of needing initial mana, I could use something like this, which will absorb combustibles. This one, which works based off explosions. Oh, there you go. Mana from fuel. I could basically make an ender flame and then throw a bunch of coal at it. I could make mana from TNT, mana from food, mana from water, mana from leaves, which I will probably do because I do live in a jungle. Mana from slime, mana from experience, and mana from lava. So currently I'm using this one. My plan... that's not what I meant to do. But currently, I'm making this one. Once I've made that one, it'll speed up the process of making this one, where I can just throw a bunch of coal at it. And then I might start making a bunch of wheat and make a bunch of bread. Or I might put together an animal farm, and I can just throw food at it. Alternatively, make a nether portal, go to the nether, grab lava, and use this.
Make a pipe where you can somehow teleport lava into a thing, which I know can be done.
Yeah, it can be done. I have a pump right here.
Yeah. And there is a
So I've got a pump here that's pulling up water and storing it into containers on the other side of this wall. So I could do something like that, and I do have these portals that allow me to jump between locations. So if I were to go through this portal right now, this should take me to Ben's house.
Yeah. But are you able to transfer the, like, because not entirely sure on how you would do it on that game or how it used to be done, but you used to be able to actually transport like pretty much lava itself through a portal.
Yeah. Oh, actually, there might be an ender pipe or something that can do that.
Yeah, I can't remember how to do it, but I know you could do it, and it was cool. It was really cool to be able to do it. Because then you just drain out the entire nether, and you've just got unlimited lava pretty much, because...
Am I hearing a slime behind me?
I'm not sure. But, just as a update, I sorted out my furnace problem.
Oh, that's good.
It now just, it works, and to be honest, I'm actually very happy about it, because it's done, and I don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah, that's good. I'm happy for you.
All I had to do was drop my solar panels down a little, which was a bit upsetting. I didn't want to do that, but shit happens. Now I need to make a battery of sorts.
Does your mod pack have mechanism in it?
Mechanism? I don't.
MEK ANISM.
Not that I can see. Let me actually go through the mod itself. No, it doesn't.
That is why I'm not playing Fear the Beast Ultimate.
Yeah, well, this thing's got Buildcraft, Industrial. It's got all of the individual ones, but no way to properly tie them all together.
Which mechanism is designed to do.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have that part. I don't have the part that's actually important.
Yeah. Which is frustrating.
It is, but at the same time, I can't really say much because what they have done is absolutely bloody amazing. I can't really argue with it at all.
Yeah.
Because also, I have no bloody idea how they did any of this.
True.
Dirt or gravel, I don't think. So, but yeah, with mechanism, it does sound like it would be like it would make life so much easier. But that is, I'll worry about that at another time. I noticed that my other wrench to break stuff is almost broken. That didn't really make much sense, but it did.
Oh.
Alright, so I can... I was going to make a battery, which is just some tin and copper. So I need 8 tin, 4 redstone, 2 copper. So I need redstone, copper, and tin. Oh, what? Oh, that's cool. I didn't know you could do that. I'm starting to get tired. My brain's starting to not work.
Game. Nope, I crashed it. Nope. Game, please. That was
Did you
weird.
crash it or did you just lag it out?
Lag it out heavily.
Why are you generating such little... Oh, okay, never mind. I was trying to work out why they were generating such little amount of bloody energy, but it's dusk, so...
Where is that?
That would be why they're generating such a little amount of energy. Suppose I should try and make another electric furnace.
Would probably be worth it, yeah.
Well, I've got the 2 furnaces for my production, essentially. For my non-personal, like just the stuff that I've got on rotate. So, yeah, I should probably do the other ones too. I wonder what other kind of batteries I can make.
What coal do I have? 700.
Holy crap, an advanced RE battery, but I can't actually make it, which sucks, so... Charging RE battery box. I don't know what the hell that does. Factory battery? I don't know what that does. Whatever, I'll just stick with what I got. I'm not really too fussed.
A munch stew is actually very complicated to make. And will require a fair bit of mana. So Mallory might be easier. And then I can just grab lava. An ender flame. Lava bucket for coal. Okay. So, my to-do list is to finish making a Rune of Mana, then make a Rose of Arcana, then use my stored experience to speed up mana collection, and then decide on my next mana collecting flower, because I haven't really decided on what I want to use yet.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But you have a plan.
I have a bare bones plan, yeah.
Probably still, it's still a plan.
Oh, there we go, the flowers finally disappeared. So I am no longer collecting mana at this current stage.
Fair enough.
So that is my cue to leave, I guess.
I mean, it has been a few hours, and as you said, it's
Been
going
3.5
on, 2
hours.
o'clock? Yeah, it's been going on, what, 2 o'clock?
Yep, it is now 2 in the morning.
Yeah, something insane. So, yeah, I'd say that's a fair reason. Quite early. Or late, depending on how you want to see it. No, let's just cut this tree down. I'm sick of it being here.
Alright
Good
then.
tree. Well, have a good one, man.
Good night. See you another time.
Yeah.
So it's going to be end of Friday night stream at 2 in the morning. I'm trying to be extra quiet because I know the rest of the family's asleep. Might do a stream tomorrow or Sunday. It'll either be Minecraft or Overwatch or Sea of Thieves because I've been playing that a fair bit recently. I've been doing really well. But enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you another time. Bye! Hotkeys do not work.